This show is brought to you by Databril, the scalable Amazon PPC management for large Amazon sellers and brands. Visit sellersessions.com/agency for more details. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back Yousaf. How you doing?
Very good. Yourself, Danny?
Yeah, good. Thanks for the last one on Google. Today, let's have a little chat about the processes you have in place for Facebook and Instagram. So, quick bit background on your brands and stuff. Obviously, you don't have to name them, but what you do, etc., Shopify, all those kind of things.
Of course. So we mainly operate in the sort of health and beauty sector. We run a number of different brands. We focus a lot on external traffic to our own website. We launched a couple of brands in 2016, and we started off with going very heavy on paid search through AdWords, and also did a lot of work on Facebook and Instagram. On the Facebook front, we probably started off doing Facebook after a year of kind of getting the AdWords campaign absolutely right.
Yeah.
And there were a number of different things that we learned throughout the process. One, it's an obvious one now, but Facebook is dramatically expensive. So one of the things that we learned was if you've got a product that is retailing below £25, Facebook can be a pain in the back in terms of, return on investment.
Don't worry, you can swear on here. It's not Big Brother.
It's fucking difficult to get a decent return on investment. But there are ways, there are things that you can do to obviously optimize the return on investment. So we started off going with, just normal Facebook campaigns.
Yeah.
One of the first things that we did was instead of going for a, campaign that targeted both Facebook and Instagram, we treated each platform completely differently. So we had one campaign, as an example, one campaign running on Facebook and the other on Instagram. And the main reason for this is because, they're completely different platforms. And although Facebook does its best to, rejig your ads to make them effective across both platforms, it usually doesn't work. One of the prime examples is, imagine if you launched a Facebook campaign that said, buy our product, here's a discount code, and you added a link to your Shopify site. Now, that particular campaign on Facebook could work really well because people can actually click on that link and go to your, Shopify store. However, if you're running the same ad on Instagram, people can't actually click on the links, as you know. Mm-hmm. So that ad, which works really well on Facebook, all of a sudden doesn't work on Instagram. Yeah. And the ad copy as well, if you're saying click here to do this and they can't click, the ad copy essentially is obsolete. It doesn't work. So we started treating, each platform based on its own merits, different creatives, different ad copy. And one of the things that we did very early on was, because we had run our shopping campaigns and AdWords campaign for best part of 9 to 12 months, we had a lot of customers in our Shopify stores. So we exported those out of Shopify, imported those as custom audiences on Facebook. And I started targeting them, and started also to look at lookalike audiences based off the back of the people that we had on Shopify.
Cool. So let's unravel it quickly before we go into segmentation, retargeting, pixel data, etc. Talk me through a traditional Facebook campaign for you, because obviously there's a big confusion, not a confusion, but people do try and run full price campaigns and for products, and it's not always easy being the type of platform it is. It's not a commerce area. It's basically a social platform. And obviously discounts can work quite well if you're doing 80, 90% discounts off. But what are you, when you're doing your Facebook ads, we'll put Instagram to a side for a moment. When you're running your ads, what are you doing? Are they discounted in any way? Is there any, is it running a poll? What are you doing?
We're basically doing zero discounting, no discounting at all, because
Brilliant. Okay, so let's get into this, because this
yeah,
is an area, and you've been successful without discounting.
exactly. Well,
Right.
I think the discounting mindset is mainly what I've learned. It mainly comes from Amazon sellers.
Yeah.
They want a ranking boost, and they use it for product launches.
Yeah.
But when you have an ongoing campaign where you want to build your Shopify brand,
Mm-hmm.
discounting isn't the way unless there's an objective behind it.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's a temporary thing rather than an ongoing campaign.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. So on the flip side, let me ask you a question there, because
Yeah.
I'm of that mindset as well. It's difficult to sell full price products, and I love it when people prove me wrong, because at the end of the day, it's not about being right. It's about getting the right result.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is get me and the listeners over that hump. Is how are you maximizing this so that you are doing full price sales?
Yeah.
And it is a benefit, because a lot of people lose money in this area because they can't get that to connect and work.
Yeah. Well, it really depends how you frame discounting. If I've got a product that I want to sell at, say, $19.99, and on my Shopify store it says, the strikeout price is $29.99, then that's essentially not discounting, is it? It is discounting to the eyes of the consumers.
Yeah.
But as a brand, you are selling at the retail price that you intend to.
Yeah.
Which is $19.99. So I don't see that as discounting. I just see that as a getting over a psychological barrier.
Yes.
Discounting for me is something that I've seen with Amazon sellers, which is to say 90% off this product because they want to boost ranking.
That's it. Yeah. So the customers the whole point is that people are doing them discounts because they're not interested in those people on Facebook per se, because they're probably coupon collectors, right?
Yes.
They're after those, they're not, there is only one vehicle for what it's used for, in my eyes. It's not for reviews. It's not to market to them later to sell them at full price. It's purely to get rank and visibility on page one so the organic sales can take over on the Amazon platform.
Absolutely.
That's been my goal. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that for me is discounting. But what we do, which is to sell our product at $19.99 but have a strikeout price of $29.99, I don't see that as discounting, because at $19.99, that is the business model. If we sell it for $19.99 and sell X many units a month, we know the profitability of that.
Yeah.
So the thing that we learned very early on Facebook was we tested a lot of different ad formats. And the thing that became obvious to us was videos were the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we did a lot of different videos. Interestingly, we spent money creating, really sort of semi-professional to professional sort of videos about the product. And this wasn't, here are the benefits of the product, but literally people using the product, because, when you're in the beauty niche, it's kind of easier to make videos.
Yeah.
And what we found was the videos that were professionally shot and produced, they had terrible ROI.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't work. But the videos, we had a couple of videos that a couple of bloggers or influencers had made on Instagram for us. So we reached out to these guys and we said, look, would you give us the permission to use these in our ads? And luckily, a couple of them said yes, and we started using those almost amateur videos. And the results from those videos were totally impressive compared to,
because they're authentic, even though they're not polished, they're authentic.
Exactly. If you see a professionally shot video or a creative on your Instagram feed, you're highly likely to ignore it because your brain is essentially programmed to ignore ads in this day and age. But when you come across something that looks like like an organic video,
mm-hmm.
then you're likely to kind of take a second to look at it. And then obviously if it's engaging, you might, watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the money that we invested in professionally produced and shot videos they didn't work, but it was an amazing investment for us because we quickly learned that they didn't work.
Yeah.
And ever since, we've just started, getting videos from influencers and pushing those on Facebook and Instagram.
Cool. So we kind of covered the full price sales. So what kind of conversions would the audience expect to get on full price if you've done it in the right way? So you've used these ad hoc videos from influencers.
Yeah.
What should be your expectations? And again, let's talk quickly about the price point as well, because
Yeah.
you've got to cover your acquisition costs. So do you do long-term value of a customer and stuff like that, or are you looking off first purchase attribution?
So when we started off, we were fully focused on first purchase acquisition because we had one product and we were just focused on that. We didn't even know what the repeat buy rate would be.
Yeah.
So when we started off, we were focusing on getting at least 3x. So any ROAS about above 3 was good for us.
Yeah. So guys, ROAS is return on ad spend. Yeah.
Exactly. So anything above 3 was great. 3 was great, but then anything below 3, it just meant that we were still making profit, but it wasn't, a decent enough profit.
Mm-hmm.
But what we realized is obviously you have different campaigns with different ROAS. So one of the things that we did was we were trying to understand, okay, we uploaded all these 100,000 customers on Facebook as custom audiences. So we understood what the ROAS on those were. We then created lookalike audiences off the back of those custom audiences. And then we created campaigns that targeted 1% match, 2% match, all the way to 10% match in terms of lookalikes.
Yeah.
And what we found was the 3%, 6% were basically were giving us the best return in terms of ROAS.
Mm-hmm.
And the other ones some of them were still profitable, others weren't. So we literally turned off those lookalike campaigns and zeroed in on the ones that were profitable for us.
Yeah. And in terms of split testing, are you using any software out there like for Facebook ads where you can go in and micromanage and run various split testing options or multivariant testing on ads?
We know how they work on Facebook, but candidly speaking, we've never used them because for us, we know what creative works and what creative doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just focused on testing different audiences because I think that's where the main, that's what, if we focus on audiences and segment them properly, I think that is where we can make the most money. If we go with any other tests, I think we'll just do a lot of sporadic things and not get the results that we want.
Cool.
It depends on your resources as well. Obviously, if we had a lot of resources, of course we would do that.
Yeah. What about we talked to lookalikes. What about custom audiences in terms of bringing over your Amazon data and obviously for you, your Shopify data?
Of course. So we obviously, like I mentioned a minute ago, we imported all the Shopify customers, and the ROAS on those were pretty decent.
Yeah.
The lookalikes, like I said, there were a couple of lookalikes that were really decent for us. But then around sort of 9 to 10 months ago, it occurred to me that we were able to export order details from Amazon through the API. So we quickly built an app that enabled us to do exactly that. So the app essentially hooks into the Amazon API, brings in all the order data, gives us the sort of postcode, address and the name of the customers. And then we export that as a CSV uploaded on Facebook. Obviously, because we don't have emails or phone numbers, It's a little bit more tricky for Facebook to match all of them or most of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got, say, 100,000 customers on Amazon and you export those and create custom audiences off the back of those on Facebook, Facebook can match quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
So we were creating campaigns off the back of that. And that was reasonably successful, but not as successful as the Shopify stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still worth trying, though.
What about with regards to your pixel data in terms of retargeting?
Yeah, so we did a lot of different tests. So, for example, we did people who added to cart didn't purchase, or people who added to cart went to the payment section but didn't complete payment. All of these, we run different campaigns targeting them. One of the things that was really interesting for us was to test cart abandoners. So we were retargeting people who were 30 days abandoners, 90 days abandoners, 120 days, and then 180 days.
Yeah.
And for reasons that I have no insight into, what we found was the 180 days, the 90 days, they were the ones that were performing exceptionally well compared to the others.
Wow.
Well, I still don't know why, but you look at the data, you look at the pixel data, and you're like, well, the campaign is running at a decent ROAS. We'll keep it running, but we just don't know why.
Yeah. Cool. Right, before we wrap, let's talk a little bit more about the Instagram side of things. Ad set up there. We obviously, you've discussed about the clickable images, and you were talking about the structure that you keep them separate from Facebook because the infrastructure is not the same. So it's difficult in terms of putting copy in there that doesn't make sense coming from a Facebook ad. So walk me through your setup for an Instagram, and then let's talk influencers after.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did was, because we knew from our AdWords campaign that pretty much all of the converters were coming from mobile devices, especially iPhone devices, we essentially biased all our Facebook and Instagram campaigns towards mobile devices.
Yeah.
So the Instagram campaign was fully focused on mobile devices. And what we did was we tried to create two campaigns. Well, we created a campaign that was focused on mobile devices, and then we replicated the same campaign, but then added connected to Wi-Fi as a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly we realized that the campaign that had that had Wi-Fi connected to Wi-Fi as a requirement, that was providing us better results compared to the one without Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And this makes sense now, because if you're on Instagram and you're trying to make a purchase, if you're out and about on the street or sitting in a bus stop, it's highly unlikely for you to make a purchase or to complete it. You might look at a product, but you might not complete the purchase. But if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, you're probably at home or at the office, you're more likely to buy. So that for us was a minor insight that actually delivered massive dividends.
Yeah.
And in terms of ad formats, obviously on Instagram you get so many different ad formats. The thing that worked really well for us was simply and squarely videos.
Yeah.
And organic videos. So we would use different platforms to reach out to influencers, get them to do videos for us. And then we would seek permission of those influencers to use the videos and ads. Funnily enough, one of the guys that were featured in our ads, it was funny. He was quite a sort of decent-looking guy. The amount of comments that we got on his videos and what the girls wanted to do with him rather than our product, it was just hilarious watching him. So his ads, or that particular ad was seen by at least half of the British population at one point, because we were spending so much money on Facebook. And that guy ended up on a reality show as a result of it.
That's incredible.
He got so famous. But yeah, videos are the way to go. And again, just segmenting that audience is the key. Another thing that works really well is to kind of use some basic principles of behavioral economics. So even in the ads saying, this product sells one every 57 seconds.
Yeah.
The moment you have something like that, you will see that it will have a dramatic impact on, conversion.
Cue a load of spammy affiliate marketers trying that tip.
Yeah, but I think it's the way that you do it rather than, if you're.
Well, if it's true, it don't matter, does it? It's just if it's bullshit.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can always reframe things. So we're not in the business of lying to people, but at the end of the day, I think you can use language very cleverly.
Yeah.
It's not what you say; it's what they hear.
Yes.
So we just focus on that.
Excellent. And if people want to reach out to influencers, what are some of the best tips that you would suggest to people?
I would say the vast majority of platforms out there that help you do it, they are just rip-offs. They're useless.
Yeah.
They're loaded with people who just have fake followers, fake accounts. The thing that
Can you tell me what you really mean?
Eh?
I'm joking. No, I love your honesty. That's great. And so, what would you suggest is the good old-fashioned elbow grease?
The good old-fashioned trick is to do it manually, do it yourself, get a feel for the people on Instagram, because when you look at a profile with for a couple of seconds, you can get a feel for it. One, are they truly influential? Two, would they resonate with my brand? Three, do they have real engagement or not?
Yeah.
So that's the thing that we use. The other thing that we do is, because we're in the beauty niche, there are a lot of other brands who've already done the hard work of working with influencers. So we just identify those brands and then target the people that they've worked with in sort of reverse chronological order. So we would look at brand X that seems to have worked with a lot of influencers. So we literally go through all their Instagram posts and then find the people that they've worked with and, contact them.
Sounds good. That's fantastic. There's been a lot of information there, mate. Thank you for joining us again on the show.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No problem. What's the best way for people to reach you if they've got any questions?
Best to email me. My email is y.sekandar, so that's SEKANDER @gmail.com.
Thanks, mate. Guys, thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Other than that, I'll see you in a few days' time. Take care.